Welcome back to BCFM, the Beyond Coruscant podcast. Thanks for joining us. You are live with Jack and Cooper. Very, very happy to have you here today.
Yes.
As we're going to discuss the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, our thoughts, our feelings about the most recent Star Wars movie released. And we'll touch on The Boys Season 5, the finale. We'll talk about the season as a whole. We might even have time to talk about the series as a whole. Yes, so very fun episode. So many reasons to like and subscribe to the channel if you're watching on YouTube. 5-star ratings and reviews on the podcasting platforms if you are listening on them. All right, Jack, before we get into it, how are we feeling this morning? We're feeling good, feeling energized?
Feeling good, yeah. Feeling very alert, alive. And since we did watch a midnight screening together, I'm even more excited to do this Mando and Grogu review.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's get right into it. So Mandalorian and Grogu, we went and watched it at the midnight release, which was a lot of fun. Our cinema was actually,
It was live.
It was lively. It was lively.
Yeah.
They were clapping and cheering and making some noises, and that was a bit of fun.
Yeah.
Would you like to begin?
Yeah. Look, I think we'll start off with just general thoughts. I think so we don't go on rambles and tangents as always. You know, we love to ramble. But if you did watch our quick 30-second each short on our channel, which we did directly after like 3 a.m. in the morning in Australia, but I think we both generally kind of liked it for the overall vibe of it. I personally came into it with, I wouldn't say low expectations, but I also wouldn't say high expectations. I just came in knowing that it wouldn't be plot heavy, that it probably wouldn't affect the Star Wars galaxy as a whole. So what I was hoping to get out of it was a fun time to see the Mandalorian back on screen kicking butt, which we got a lot of, and great music, which was absolutely phenomenal in this movie. Unbelievable. The CGI for a movie that has almost a CGI character and CGI characters in it constantly was actually really good.
Yeah.
Like, no complaints. I didn't go like in the Punisher one shot, go, what's this falling thing? You know what I mean? Like, and this was a long movie, so I thought that was all perfect. I think the dialogue, you know what? No one's going to talk about this. I think the dialogue was actually okay too. You know how sometimes in season 3 of Mandalorian specifically, it was really, for some reason, just weird, like a bit corny, a bit loose. But it kind of brings Mando back to, he doesn't speak a lot, only if he's giving directions. You know what I mean? Like, so if he's giving directions and he's speaking a lot, and this is the issue, I'm just going to mention it briefly now. The promotional things for this movie did not kind of set up for what the movie tone was going to be like and kind of what the vibe of the movie was going to be like. Because I think they just kind of been like, yeah, they're back on the screen. Come watch it. It's like, yeah, but why? You know what I mean? Like, say like, we're bringing the Star Wars fun back, you know? Bring your family, bring anyone. You know, this is a good vibe, positive vibe movie. You get to see Mando taking out new, what's it called? The Imperial remnants. It's just, I don't know, like the intro was goated. It really drew you in, and it kind of, we looked over to each other after kind of that first battle scene and everything. Oh, by the way, spoiler talk will happen for this one. So it has been 3 days technically since it's come out officially, but for us, it's been almost half a week. But yeah, like we just looked over and go, yeah, okay, we can get on this. We can get on board with this.
Vibing.
Overall, the only complaint you can give the movie, and I don't think it's the fault of the movie on its own, is just because it already told us that it wasn't going to set up anything major or focus on anything major. So if you really want to call it a con or anything, I guess you could say that it doesn't kind of push forward the Star Wars galaxy or reinvent the wheel, as you might like to say. But does everything Star Wars need to?
Yeah.
Because, for example, The Acolyte tried to reinvent the wheel. And what did Star Wars fans think about that one? Ponder on that as I pass it over to Cooper.
Isn't that funny? We were just speaking about The Acolyte as well. So I think so many people are going to use this word. You overused it in our initial review. This 100%. Is a fun movie. It is fun. There is a lot to enjoy about it. It is a not necessarily a switch your brain off and enjoy sort of film. but it's one where you don't really need to pay extra attention because there's no real consequences for what's going forward in the Star Wars galaxy. And that's fine. Like what Jack said, we don't need that from every Star Wars project. I think people are disappointed because it's not. But I heard, I think it was the Escape Pod.
Yep.
One of the guys said that this is a great re-entry point for Star Wars fans. It's not overly complicated. It's familiar. It's got huts. It's got planets. It's got a baby Yoda.
It's got sad and heartful moments, which Star Wars is always known for.
Yeah, so I think it's got the right aspects to be a good entry point, and I 100% agree. Oh, actually, just quickly, did you hear that Ray's movie's been cancelled?
Like officially now cancelled, because I remember they delayed it and everything.
Yeah, what a shame. I think Collider reported on it, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's an official.
That's probably official.
Source, yeah.
Rough.
So I liked it. I did like it. I do have some nitpicks about it. I kept thinking, because my thing is, I haven't given it a rating. I refuse to rate it or rank it because it's just.
It is hard.
It doesn't feel like a movie. And it doesn't feel like a Star Wars movie, but it does feel like a Star Wars movie. It just feels so different from the other Star Wars movies. And I was wondering why. Why am I feeling like this? And I finally settled on the reason why. From The Phantom Menace through to Rise of Skywalker, including Solo and including Rogue One, who has been the main antagonist overall? Just not Palpatine, but like... What's been the
Empire?
Big group? The Empire.
Yeah.
The Empire was in this movie for 20 minutes. We would thought that maybe they would be a bigger...
technically the other guy was too. In the later half, the bold one that they went to get with Rodder. But like in terms of like actual Imperial like forces.
Imperial forces.
Only.
There's always a constant presence, whether it's stormtroopers, whether it's generals, whether it's a Sith. There's always that constant reminder. In the back half of this movie, all we got was the huts. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, so this is maybe why it doesn't feel as a Star Wars movie, because we don't have the big bad in an army like that. We have individuals and the huts are the bad guys. And I'm thinking, oh, well, okay, that's probably why I'm feeling like it's not Star Wars. It felt like the Mandalorian show. So that's kind of where I'm sitting at generally, that it's hard for me to rank it and it's hard for me to rate it because I just can't compare it. That's the thing. And I can't think of it by itself as well.
Yeah, look, I will give you some of my ideas. I want to see what you think about this. I forgot to mention this to you after we finished watching it, is actually I really thoroughly enjoyed seeing a Hutt that wasn't portrayed as evil. Actually, you know, like I was hoping that he wouldn't do like a 360 or 180 like turn on Mando or Grogu like Rodder himself. And I was really happy to just see a Hutt that actually had to like the heart to want to be good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in the promotional thing, which is probably good for that instance, they made him look like he was going to be just like a one and done Coliseum fight type of guy. But I loved what they did with that. And I liked, now this is the thing. Everyone on this, if you've been following up with our podcast for almost since the start, Cooper, you obviously would know too. I love Return of the Jedi. I did not like the Hutt stuff at the start of it, to be honest, that much. But here's a but. I like the Hutts, and I really like how they are the actual main antagonists of this movie. Because whilst I was watching it, I was like, you know what would be a really good movie too? And if we got it done right, a Boba Fett, you know, movie about being a bounty hunter. Oh wait, this is almost just it with the Grogu edition. Because realistically, I want a movie just called The Bounty Hunter or Bounty Hunters, Star Wars Bounty Hunters. And because all I can think about is how cool the Mando's gun sound effects are. How cool was Django's back in Attack of the Clones? That sticks with you. I was rewatching, obviously, Mando season 1 or 2, not 3, obviously, deliberately leaving that one out in my rewatch before the movie. But even like the seismic charge from, you know, his ship and everything from Boba's ship, it's just, there's so much cool things to bounty hunters. And that's why I really liked Embo being in this film too. I know people, and this is the thing, if you didn't see Clone Wars, Embo is the biggest glup shido in this movie because he doesn't get any physical like background or like even dialogue at all, obviously, and anything like that. He's just literally set up to just take out Mando and bring him to the Hutts. And I loved how he got away. Because couldn't handle another one of my Clone Wars boys get massacred in live action in the first the first time they appear, like
Looking at you,
Cad
Cad Bane.
Bane. Yeah, Cad Bane, what are you doing, buddy? But that's the thing. Like, it just feels good to see a large movie on the big screen with bounty hunting aspects in it, and that's what I love. I actually would have loved if season one almost of Mando was just a full. You know what I mean? Like, I want just a proper gritty, like. This one was fun, obviously, but I would now, after seeing this, I would love to see a gritty bounty hunter tale. Like, it would be so good, man, to see on the big screen with the big budget, the big action sequences, the big soundtracks. Like, all I could think about was how cool it could be. And I think this movie did give us that taste. And like we were saying about how it's a good entry point, it was funny, but not funny as in like the MCU kind of like, oh, or even they fly now. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
Like, even just a little like Grogu tapping on Mando's helmet, like with the bombs. Like, it's just cute. It's funny. Like, and I'll be honest, I was an avid kind of Grogu hater, being like, I'm sick of him just being used to play it for cute. In this movie, the promotional aspects did portray that as he's still being cute. Oh, the button pressing. He did that once and it was moved on straight away.
Yeah.
He was actually more useful in this, and he actually wasn't that cute, like as in like, oh, look how cute he is. Like, you know what I mean? Which I think was good. He was still cute when he was eating his snacks and stuff, but that's just him. You know what I mean? But it had funny moments with the Anzellans. It was hilarious. They were great. You know what I mean? I just could think of little Italian people just, because obviously I'm, Italian heritage too, not just saying it out for the people. Yeah, no, just like to say that. But like, they look so cute and like little small people, and they like want to help out their friends. It's so cute. But yeah, I love the visuals, and I love seeing Nal Hutta in live action. I did really appreciate seeing that jungly, swampy kind of look, and I really appreciated it.
We were there for a long time in Nal Hutta.
We were.
Very long time. Okay, I'll start with some positives. So, I mean, you've kind of ticked all of the main kind of things off with like the music and the cinematography.
At the start, yeah.
I really, really liked the opening credits. The cinematography in that and the music, it just really felt, I don't even know what to compare it to.
It felt 80s. It just felt 80s.
Yeah.
With the title credits coming up, with the actors, with the shots of the X-Wings, it just felt like, you know what I mean? Like, rebellion.
We were focusing on like the extras who were doing the X-Wing maintenance, and
it's just cool. It just felt
the bar and whatnot. I thought it was fun. It was vibey. I liked it.
It was heartfelt, I think. It was just really like cool to see just regular people doing regular work in this galaxy.
Yep. Another big character who I think is not getting enough recognition, Zeb. Perfect inclusion in this movie. Like, wasn't there too often. He did what he needed to. He looked good. The voice acting was outstanding as always. And his inclusion felt warranted. It's not like he was just shoehorned in just for the sake of having a Rebels cameo. He had some meaningful contributions to the story. Had some good action as well. He was moving very well. I would say the same about Embo. Embo was like, there was a reason why he was included. There was a purpose, not just there for the sake of it. To people who are coming into this movie who don't know about Embo, it's probably like, oh, who's this guy? Because they're not introduced. Like, you don't get introduced to Embo. They don't tell you who he is. They just expect you to know. So that's kind of the one character I would say.
Entry point people won't.
Not the Jabba's and someone who's in the movie, but like his name's mentioned a lot. And if you don't know who Jabba the Hutt is, which I suspect a lot of the audience will, maybe it's a bit difficult to understand the importance of Rotter.
I guess more just he was a bad person. You could pick up from it if you didn't know.
I suppose so. Yeah,
that's about it.
I suppose nitpicks.
Yep.
I think this movie would have done a lot better if there was a bit more development of our main two heroes.
I can agree with that big time.
I think the one thing, just so small, but would have made such a big impact and would have set up an interesting dynamic going into season 4 if they're still doing it, if Grogu spoke. You think about it. He's a baby. He's not said a word besides he's like, Batu and whatever else. Like, that's what we've become accustomed to. But I feel like there would be such emotional weight with him saying something. Like, when Din was poisoned and passed out, if Grogu was speaking to him while doing that, while he couldn't hear, I think that would have been or shown that, you know, he is willing to learn to speak, to communicate properly with Din. I think that would have set up a really fun dynamic moving forward. On the other side of things, Din, I don't really know where you can take his character, because
Exactly.
he kind of the first episode of season 1, he's this stone cold bounty hunter who changes his heart, or who changes his mind when he sees Grogu. He goes on a journey of self-discovery and love for Grogu. Season 2, it's about letting him go, and then Book of Boba Fett happens. And then season 3, he kind of
the redemption of his.
He's got an identity crisis. Yeah, a redemption. So where do you take him from here? Because he's pretty much back to
Where
season 1. Like, what do you do with him? So I can understand not developing Din, but Grogu, there's no, like, it's so small. Just have him speak,
like there's no
have him
plan.
say something.
Yeah.
And there's not really any plan moving forward now for season 4. I reckon there's just not enough.
It's the only way I see Mando's kind of story being wrapped up is the way that they kind of pitched it in this one, is that Grogu's going to outlast him. I'm assuming at some point he's going to sacrifice himself for Grogu. Yeah. And that will wrap up Mando's storyline quite well, I think. And I think if they did it in this movie, it wouldn't be good, in my opinion, now watching it. Because it would definitely have a more of a heavier weight to it than that fun kind of vibe before it. And then Grogu's one, but that's the issue. I agree with you on Grogu's one more than Din's one, probably, because he has been in a lot of media already, right? If Din goes, what are we going to do with Grogu? Because he's still not able to do stuff on his own. Are we just going to pretend like we forget about him and then go way 50 years in the future and then be like, oh, yes, he is now teenager height or whatever? Like what are we going to do with him? Like, obviously, he's going to outlast Din. I don't think Grogu's going to die, to be honest.
Nah, they can't.
Like, in at least this, like, until he's older, maybe. You know what I mean? Meaning, there's surely going to be a plan for him. They cannot have someone with this much potential for power and kind of the species and everything. There's no way you're telling me they haven't thought, with George Lucas specifically, about Yoda's background. Because I know George didn't want ever to that be revealed. But I'm like, I'm in the same boat. I'm on the fence with it. I'm like, I want to know. But at the same time, the mystery is always cool. But I'm like, what more can you do with this character, though? If you don't go back and check out the heritage or check out where they are all of Yoda's species force sensitive? Are they just like a mini microcosm on some planet? Like, do they live on a moon? Like, you know what I mean? Like, are they just created via the force? Are they just force creations that just happen weirdly throughout the time? Like, it's just something like that, which I think would make Grogu's story more interesting. And you could have then, when he's a bit grown up, the adventures of Grogu or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it goes him through like a self-discovery of his people and that kind of experience. And it would then follow, if Din's passed away at that time period, then follows what he's learned being a bounty hunter with Din. You know what I mean? Being a rogue on his own. And he kind of picks up the traits, and then he maybe wears a helmet. You know, that helmet design with the ears coming out that everyone's kind of, you know, something like that would be sick. You know what I mean? Like when he's older.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, I feel like, right now it doesn't look like there's a plan for both. And that's the issue. And I think that's what, you know, you reminded me of it. That was my issue. I don't mind if this movie had no outcome at the end, but not if there's no, like, Din doesn't change from even the end of season 3 to the end of this movie. Yep. Like, there is no development for them whatsoever. And that's what we were saying. Even I like to bring up the Punisher one. That's because it was just the other week. In a 40-minute episode, Punisher was a different man to what he was at the start of that episode to the end. Whether you like what happened or whatever, it was different, right? He wasn't, you know, sitting in his room having all those PTSD moments. He embraced the role that he wants to be. But in this long 2-hour movie, where did they end up being? They end up doing it. They end up just back to where they were anyway. Like, there was no realization. There was no thing that they have to do now. There was no sacrifice. There was, it was weird. What, the only growth was Grogu could do something on his own for a change. That was about it I could get from it.
Yeah, he was more capable by himself, which I will say, the movie, when we got to that point of Din being poisoned,
I know you didn't
like that
much.
Oh no, I didn't care about
Yeah.
it, but just I suppose I'm like, okay, why have we justified Grogu being in the title of this movie, and then we had like a solid 20 minutes of just him.
Of
I'm like,
just him.
okay, and this is good. He was learning to fend for himself. He was taking care of Din. That gives him a reason to be in the movie. That gives him a reason to have a title, like being the
Yep.
title. That makes sense.
He also,
So
even before that, he also saved in with the Anzellans in that pit too, because he wouldn't have survived the dragon.
true, yeah,
He wouldn't have known that outway and anything like that. So,
yeah.
which I also think is hilarious that, this is actually funny. The other person we watched it with actually mentioned afterwards saying, how was the biggest damage that Din copped was from that dragon thing being technically the big boss of like the whole thing was almost that water dragon.
Yeah.
Like Embo, the huts, none of them actually scratched
Nah.
the surface on Din. The droids, none of them. And this has actually brought up a good thing that I want to discuss with you too. Din's never properly been tested, has he? He's rarely actually had to even. Okay, he wins a Darksaber off Moff Gideon.
Hmm.
Mando's a Mandalorian warrior. There is no like, what's the word? The biggest like fight that would happen would be him versus Ahsoka, right? And that one little part at the start of that episode 5 or whatever. I'm like, Din hasn't really ever had that much trouble. Have a think.
Well,
That
as
dragon was
someone-
almost the most trouble he's almost had in his whole screen time appearance in Star Wars.
I do agree, but as someone who did watch season 3, there is a moment in the second episode where he's ambushed by that spider creature, and he kind of
another
he's
animal
captured.
thing.
He is captured.
True,
He can't
true.
fight it. So, but yes,
I
in
guess
terms
the
of
animals
like,
are his biggest,
yeah,
rivals.
yeah.
But like, I want someone to rival him, and I thought Embo was going to really do it, and he did. Embo was winning that first part, captured him using his brains, but then when they were fighting just in the pit, I know he kind of got sunk down with the huts into the water thing. But it's like, you tell me didn't out like powers Embo? And don't give me the nonsense about Embo's aged or something with his speed. No, Embo has had way more experience. He was in the Clone Wars, rivaling other bounty hunters in their prime, Jedis all around them, and the Empire. There is no way you're telling me Din Djarin is a better bounty hunter than Embo and all the others.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, I want to see Din actually struggle. I want to see Din, and not struggle as in like he's just worried about Grogu, so he loses by, and that's kind of what he did when he first got captured by Embo. He was just too busy focused on Grogu that he didn't even activate his visor for traps or anything. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like he only loses because he's thinking about Grogu a lot of the time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, because every other cannon fodder, they're like, I know these droids are cannon fodder, but they're not cannon fodder like the battle droids in like the prequels. I feel like these guys are all modified and modded with like really cool weapons and stuff, but they were just treated like nothing. And I don't know. I just feel like it would have been better. And even those big security ones that we kept getting in the trailers and stuff out front of the huts, it was done in like 2 seconds, that fight almost. I thought they were going to be like proper, no. I feel like a Gamorrean guard would almost give more. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I just feel like there needs to be more challenge for Din, and there needs to be in the future at least.
Yeah. I'm just wondering when the next time we'll see him is, because I know we just got the movie, but like, is it season 4? Because that hasn't started filming. Is it in Heir to the Empire?
3 years
been
time?
cancelled.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, it's going to be a while before we see Din again and Grogu probably. So
that's true.
It'll be interesting. Do you have any more thoughts?
I was going to say that's probably it, but like keep in mind, guys, we are going to next week in the upcoming weeks. There's going to be more ranking tier list discussions. So the movie might come up again if we're doing because Cooper and I both have a hard time trying to rank this movie, and I think it'll be fun to kind of see where we place it in the large grand scheme of things and everything like that. But
yeah, I don't know.
Overall, it was a fun time.
It was fun. I don't really want to rank it. Like, I don't like this movie. I'm fine to rank the rest of them.
Yeah, I gave it a I don't like the Letterboxd one. Letterboxd. Okay, my only critique about Letterboxd, guys, it needs to be more than 5 stars because not every movie is a 3 or like the same level of as a 3.
Yeah,
I don't know. Anyway, my opinion is out of 100%, I think this movie is a solid, and I'll keep to this 78.5.
Damn. Okay. All right.
But that's not bad. That is not
good.
bad.
That's really good.
At times it can go to 80, and also at times it can drop to a 75. I feel like it's, and that's not a bad thing about the movie. But also, I also don't think many Star Wars movies crank a 90%. And I don't know why The Last
Very
Jedi was
rarely.
a 90-something%. That was unbelievable. But yeah, that's getting me blood boiled for that again. Let's
No,
move on.
we don't need to do that. All right. The Boys season 5 finale. There's
The
been
big old
some
boys.
very mixed feedback
Oh,
on
yeah.
this.
Even
On
more
this
than
episode. I think it is the lowest
Yep.
rated episode of the season,
Really?
and also
Oh.
of the show. I think that's an overreaction.
it
In
is.
total
It
honesty.
is.
The finale was fine. It was
fine.
not. It was not the best finale you'll
No.
ever see.
Yeah, but it wasn't like
It
Stranger
was
Things
not
level.
trash.
Yeah, come on. People comparing it to Stranger Things finale. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, guys. That is disrespectful to the boys, I think. Stranger Things
Yeah.
finale was cheeks.
Yes. As someone who didn't even watch Stranger Things,
Yeah,
I know
you
how
saw
bad
all the
that
stuff.
finale was. So yeah. Look, you think about it realistically. All of the questions and unanswered things that we came in with from the week prior were answered pretty much
Even if you
fully
don't
in this week.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Even if you didn't want that particular answer, you still got it. You know what I mean? At
That's
least
it.
it wasn't left really in the air. You know what
so
I mean?
you cannot complain if you're saying, "Oh, it was underwhelming." No, it answered all of the things that you wanted to know. That's the thing. So it did that. The main issue that Jack and I have with it is that they have teased from the very start of the season scorched earth. And what do we get? Scorched White House, Oval
Scorched
Office, scorched carpet. So just with the promo, with the knowledge of what happens in the
Definitely
comics,
a promo
I suppose
misleading.
they just it did not live. That's exactly what I was feeling when I watched. I'm like, oh, is this it? Well, we're doing this here.
Yeah, as soon as Butcher came through that White House door, I'm like, oh, so we're gonna end it here already.
Yeah,
and I was like
I saw someone break it down. Narratively, it makes sense that they do it in the Oval Office because the whole season's been about politics, and we know Homelander, who he's supposed to be parodying. Yeah. So it makes sense that it's finishing there. But when you think about like the biggest action set piece of the entire season was in the internment camp at the start of the season. That's not great. For a final season, maybe let's go a bit more.
Amp it up. Yeah, I agree 100%. Like I definitely even think it would have been even slightly better if instead of them the boys going under the White House, like through the tunnels, if they went faced on, like obviously as opposed to and the comics when Butcher rocks up in front of it. Even if we had that with Soups guarding it, and then behind Butcher walks out first, so it looks like he's on his own, obviously, and then behind him comes the boys with any other like Gen V characters, and then this would give the Gen V characters a better send off than just taking the home teamers to God knows where. But in terms of like, they will then, you can just pretend like they're fighting the other Soups that are guarding, you know, Homelander and the White House. You know what I mean? And you can see them use their powers and stuff. But then that explains why then Butcher and Kimiko sneak through past the rest of them to Homelander. And then they'll be like, oh, Homelander will just fly away. And this is my issue with that, right? Homelander is now powerful and God, right? I don't even think he only runs away when he sees Kimiko. If he doesn't see Kimiko out there, he should not want to run away because he knows that he technically is more powerful than the others, right? So I'm sick of them saying, oh, you know, he just kept trying to run away because, you know, like, I'm like, there is no because, or there's no things about running away. He's technically the most powerful person in the universe for the boys. Why is he running? He's only running because of Kimiko. If Kimiko doesn't show up until later, then he wouldn't have, then that whole thing being like, oh, that, what's it called? Vision of him walking up wouldn't work because he'll see Kimiko and just run away. No, Kimiko wouldn't out herself like that. You know what I mean? They would, it's such an easy way to, you know, fix that little part there. But I think that already would have then been, if that was destruction all around there, would have been a better scorched earth than even, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's something so simple of a change would have then fixed, I think, a big problem with the finale. Not talk about the season, because I think that's a whole separate category in my opinion.
Yeah. I thought that the ending of the episode and the resolutions felt a bit
Cheap.
In retrospect, it felt a bit odd. Like
The mother's milk one was odd.
I thought that was okay.
With
but
Ryan.
I feel like we went from, oh my gosh, everyone's just seen Homelander die. Like, this is insane on live TV, to then, oh, okay, we did it. Here, let's all go on with our lives. Oh, Butcher's dead. Okay. There was no real fallout. There was no like, we saw a bit of like, oh, Ashley got impeached. Robert Singer got back as the president. We didn't see any public opinion on Soups if it had changed. And like what Butcher said, he was right in the end. Because there are still some effed up Soups out there who are
still gonna try and cause havoc.
Yeah. So, and I understand that's what Singer was calling Huey about, trying to, the superhuman affairs, whatever it was called. But like, it, in a weird way, it would have been better to just end Soups altogether, because what changed? The only thing that changed is that Homelander is gone. That's the only thing that's changed.
Yeah, I think there would be two ways to do that. Two ways would be Butcher still dies the way he dies, but then actually got the trigger off before Huey did that. So then it would leave Huey with like that kind of, why didn't I do it sooner? Or why couldn't I like shoot him sooner kind of thing? And then kind of lead Starlight, and then eventually you don't see them die, because as you said, it would take a while for it to spread across from that building. But you would know once the series ends that they will probably end up dying. So it's a sad thing. Or you do it in a way where it's like, which I think is where they're going for here, setting up for the boys in Mexico, or setting up for future things where they just go around taking out the other Soups. You know what I mean? Like, realistically, that's probably going to... Like, they close the door on the boys, but the universe is still not closed. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. Everyone's forgetting that we still got two other shows. Well, one definitely coming out, and one, who knows for now. But they are doing more with the boys universe. So realistically, they close the door on the main character, or at least two of the main characters of the boys, Butcher and Homelander. But Homelander. But they're gonna obviously do more stuff about that later, which I think is where they would want to go with that, rather than be like, oh yeah, sorry, Kimiko and Starlight are just dead too with everyone else.
Yeah.
If they didn't have the other stuff in it, then they would have just ended all Soups there, because then that would have just ended the whole universe. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah, I understand.
So actually, they shouldn't have let us know that there was any more projects until the end of the boys, because that kind of would have made it. Gen V is fine, but like all this other stuff has been like, well, you shouldn't have even announced it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand that. You mentioned Kimiko. I'll just quickly say, I thought out of all of the characters who survived this finale, she has the most tragic fate. Not just because she's not with Frenchie, but she's living the life she wanted with Frenchie by herself. Plus, she's still got these stupid powers that she doesn't want.
Exactly. But I guess she'll be used again later if they do other stuff. But the sad thing is, it's like, why did they all just let her go? Like, I feel like that's a very... I don't know. I know she's an independent person, but like, I don't know. I just felt like it was a bit rough to be like, oh yeah, she's just living in France now on her own.
Yeah, I know. Okay. They were all family, and
and now they're just disbanded instantly. So it's like, I don't know about that one. But should we talk about the series? And I think this is what people. I think this is why people are giving this particular episode a bad rap. Oh no, not series. Seasons first, then season.
Yeah.
And this is what I think some of our viewers did comment about our Daredevil Born Again one, and I think they kind of misinterpreted what we were trying to say. The reason why we didn't think this. I mean, personally, myself, I didn't think the season finale of Daredevil Born Again was particularly all that bad. I just thought the season building up to it wasn't that great either. So then it made that finale feel a lot less. There was no reward. It wasn't that deserving. And this is the same thing with The Boys season 5 for me. There was really good episodes in The Boys season 5. However, it didn't feel like it was setting up for a series finale. It just felt like another regular season. And this is why everyone's going, oh, The Boys season 5 is so bad. I'm like, guys, this is the same as every other season that you also liked in season 3 and 2. It's just because this is the finale of the whole, a series, you know what I mean? So now they're trying to act like it's got the Game of Thrones treatment, or, the Stranger Things treatment. No, this is exactly the same formula as the other seasons, which the other seasons you personally liked. So you're getting mad only because it's not the series finale that you wanted. You know what I mean? And I think I am also with you guys. I think it could have been done better. But don't deny and don't lie if you didn't have fun during some of those episodes that we
Yeah.
got building up to it. Come on.
There
You
was
know what I
some
mean?
good moments this season. There was some really
Mhm.
fun
I
episodes.
love those cut ones with the different perspectives. How often do you
Yeah.
get that in a show like this? Like,
Mm.
it was great. I loved it. And also, oh, by the way, going back quickly, they didn't really explain how Terra died.
No, I
Radiation
reckon
from
maybe,
Kimiko?
possibly.
Because that was a very big cop out. They needed to
Yeah.
have actual, like, for that to be meaningful, something needed to actually show. You can't just be like, oh yeah, he was old.
I mean, you could kind of tell, but yeah, I
You
do
know what I mean?
understand.
Like, I don't like it sounds bad, but like it's Terra's such a cute. He's been with Butcher the whole time, and they just gave him that. Like,
Mm,
as kind of a bit of a cheap shot to make Butcher go back to where he wanted to stand initially. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, I feel like they could have had some outcome of that be bigger or at least explained to begin with. And
Yep.
and yeah, I mean, I like to hear your thoughts on why this. Like, what's your thoughts about season 5, particularly as a whole, before going into the series?
Okay. I would say they're mostly positive.
Mm.
I like to think back to when season 4 first came out. So I binged 1 to 3, and I didn't watch it in release order. So
That was your
I
first proper.
I started watching it in season 4 when it's released weekly, and I was super hyped when it was coming out.
Mm.
I didn't necessarily feel the same hype when season 5 came around. And
Okay.
looking back at it in retrospective, I think it was just feeling really excited about because I'd loved season 1 to 3 and it was so good. That's why I liked season 4 a lot. But in retrospective, season 4, it moved away from a lot of what made the boys really fun.
Yep.
And what season 4 did, now that I can recognize, is it did have a centralized plot surrounding the virus, but there was so many side plots that were unnecessary. This season had one central plot, and I felt like no one else really had some side plots. Annie had one side plot where she went to see her dad. I'm probably like all of the people in the
Ryan
one shots
subplot,
episode.
yeah.
Yeah, there was the subplot. Oh, it wasn't even a subplot with Stan Edgar, but like
No.
there was none of that like the Shining Light Liberation. There was none of that. What else?
Frenchie and his own past doings.
Yeah. Like there was none of that. And it was very focused. And I think I appreciate that more because that's what the original seasons felt like. So as a whole, I should have been more excited for this season because it was better than season 4.
Yeah, 4 was definitely the worst in the whole, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It was a bit stinky.
I appreciate that this season took the time to focus on the emotional beats because I remember saying in one of our earlier recaps of season 5 that season 4 just punched and punched and punched with its agenda. Season 5 punches but then takes a beat and then punches and then takes a beat. Yep. So I think I appreciate that quite a lot for what it did. And it, for the most part, I thought the character development that we got was really good. I thought Frenchie had one of his best seasons ever. Like that was fantastic.
I agree.
He had a great season.
I agree. Yeah.
I wish maybe we'd had a bit more fallout from the end of season 4 because most people were pretty unhappy with Butcher, and then suddenly they're okay to work with him. I don't know. Anyway, but overall, I was very happy with season 5.
Honestly, moving on for I think the whole series, and this also does link to obviously season 5 as a whole, and 4 and 5 particularly. Season 3. Can you agree that season 3 was probably one of the best boys seasons?
I think it's the second best boys season.
All right, that's all right. I can work with that. It's 1 or 2 for me. It does introduce Soldier Boy, which I think some people might say is where the boys went wrong. Not saying that it was Soldier Boy particularly, but Jensen Ackles is a big what's it called, actor. And you bring him into a show like this that already had pre-established characters, you're giving him screen time. And the way he was in season 3 was perfect. And in season 4, he just disappeared, right? Obviously, because of those, but he's disappeared. He didn't even show really, right? And then you bring him back for season 5. This is where it gets a bit iffy. And now he's back on ice again, right? Are you going to make everything now about him? Is it going to be, obviously, with the Vault Rising and everything, be about him? Because he's a really big actor and they think that he is now the boys in terms of everyone's favorite character. He was in season 3, but I think people are now starting to be like, we need to cut down a bit on Soldier Boy, I think, because right now he's taken over, or at the time he was taking over a lot of the screen time that we wanted from the other characters.
I think they wrote
Thoughts?
Soldier Boy incorrectly in season 5 because they had him flip flop a lot, and I think a lot of people got frustrated with that.
Oh, he's going to side with the boys again. No, he
Yeah.
sides with Homelander. Then he wants to go on his own thing, but he actually doesn't really like anyone. And this is the thing, and this is where 4 and 5 to me is when you start to get downhill a bit. Take a breath.
Oh, here we go.
Why do they introduce so many new ways to kill Homelander, but none of them actually work? And now they just resorted back to something we could have used still like we did in season 3 with that fight with Homelander, Soldier Boy, and Butcher, where it could have just all been ended there if they just did it properly.
Yeah,
You'll tell me with the V1, he can just be wiped that easily, like he could have been with the regular one anyway. Like what?
Okay. I'm gonna defend the boys for a sec. I'm gonna defend the writing of this for a sec. I am sure at the time thought that. I mean, I know they saw the
virus
video.
was going to be the main one.
No. Just in terms of Soldier Boy's powers and how they didn't replicate it earlier, I feel like they probably thought that was impossible. And like it's mentioned in episode 7, like it's a complex combination of radiation exposure and whatever. So they needed things to align. And it's like if they had that idea at the start of season 4, let's say, well, first of all, they don't know if Soldier Boy's alive, so they don't know if that's a thing. But also, how do you even know what they did? And how do you know it's going to work again? Yeah, you need someone like Sage. So I think it was fine. I'm not too annoyed that they didn't introduce that earlier.
Yeah, fair enough. But more my factor about that is how we had the virus. We had a whole Gen V basically setting up for this virus to just basically be thrown in the bin straight away almost. And then that's what I'm saying. And then they end up just reverting back to, let's just make Kimiko what Soldier Boy has. And then that should work. How would they even know that would work? Because he has V1 in him now. You're telling me that, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's just an easy cop out though, isn't it?
Yes, but we also saw it work on bomb sites. So
yeah, I know. But what I'm trying to say is like, that's what I'm saying though. But they had to do that to make it show that it could work, right? But the whole point, I feel like that wouldn't be the case. You know what I mean? With regular Gen V, or is it Gen V? Yeah. No.
V1.
V1, sorry. With regular just regular V through the soups. That would obviously make sense for it to wipe. But what's the point of V1 if we don't even see how strong he is with the V1, and then it still gets wiped out easily with the V1? You know what I mean? There's no point with the V1 aside from living forever.
Do you remember in season 3?
Yeah.
When Soldier Boy blasts Kimiko? You remember that?
Yeah, and she was
almost dies.
Almost died.
No, she almost died.
Yeah.
She only had V in her blood. What happened to Bomb Sight and Homelander when they got hit with Soldier Boy's thing? They were fine. They were just depowered.
That's what I'm saying.
I think there's a big difference between what happened to Kimiko and what happened to those guys, because
it's still a bit weird how Kimiko still got her power, you know, like after all that stuff. This is what I'm saying though. There's so many like reverting back that it just goes, why couldn't they just do that to begin with? Or why didn't they just focus on that to begin with? You know what I mean? Like, it was, and that's what frustrates me, because I'm like, they set up that Soldier Boy was a weapon to kill Homelander. Then they dropped that. Then they picked up with Gen V and everything with
the virus.
There's a virus. Okay, let's focus all season 4 on the virus. They do all this stuff with the virus. They built it up. Yes, it's now strong enough, maybe. You know what I mean? And then between 4 and 5, you have Gen V season 2. You got Marie. No, she's going to be the one to be able to head pop, you know, or mess with Homelander. Drop them completely. Let's revert back to season 3 with the explosive, like, wiper. It's just... And that's what really irritates me. Because imagine if you go back and rewatch every single episode and every single season all through. You're going to be like, wow, they really do go back and forth a lot on this. They couldn't have just focused it in on once. So you're telling me in season 3, that was almost the second closest to taking out Homelander than 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And basically half of 5 until the end. Like, this is what I'm saying. I feel like I understand that the whole premise of the show is to take out Homelander. I'm not saying that I don't want it to be focused on taking out Homelander. I'm saying, can we just stick with what you have set up already, or just don't even set it up to begin with and just stick with one of them? Like, that's the thing that gets me blood boiling. I'll tell you that for free. Like, it was just going back and forth and not knowing where to go, honestly. And that's really, really irritating me, I think, about the boys as a whole.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah. I just didn't like Gen V, so I don't really care
Fair enough.
that much for the intellect. I would have been nice to see it kind of flow in, but
like, oh, here we go. Would you imagine this? Marie somehow, I don't care how, don't explain it, but to involve her in the sense of building up something to make it worthwhile. Marie takes out the V1 somehow out of Homelander's bloodstream. Then Kimiko blasts her with her weaker version of Soldier Boy's one. Then Butcher kills.
that could be.
So it shows that they built up all these things for a reason, and that they needed all of them to happen instead of just ignoring all of it and then going with one thing.
Yeah.
But people will be like, oh, I should be, but then it still goes back to Butcher and Homelander 1-on-1 like it always was. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that would have been the best thing, because it's like, oh no, Kimiko, and don't show the bomb site thing beforehand, just whatever about that. Bomb site, just
toss it away.
Ignore it for now. But then Marie, they're like, oh no, Kimiko tries to blast, and Marie's already fighting in the thing. Kimiko tries to blast Homelander, doesn't work, and it's just Homelander that gets blasted, not the others. Oh no, he's got the V1, it doesn't work. Marie comes in, somehow extracts the V1 out of his stream, and he's just left with his regular compound V. And they show that somehow he's been depowered in some sort of way. You know what I mean? Like his lasers start losing its like newfound strength. And then Kimiko goes, try, and then Butcher goes, try again, Kimiko. And then Kimiko does it, and then they lose the powers. You know what I mean? Like, it would just show that Marie was also still needed for how strong she was. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like there needed to be some sort of closure with that, or just don't even have Gen V to begin with.
Yeah. I agree. Now that I think about it, the treatment of the Gen V characters was pretty bad.
Oh, even if you didn't like him, you can just like say that it was poorly done. It was no other reason for it. And I'm not going to be surprised if later on down the track, when the NDAs are done, that they're going to come out and be like, yeah, no, we got screwed. Like, our whole show got cancelled, and they didn't even want to include us into the boys.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. Well, do you have anything else to add for the boys?
I don't really think so. One day maybe we'll do like a full season, what's it called, retrospectives and tier lists and tier lists of our favorite characters and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot to work with the boys universe still, so don't you worry about that, guys. But
that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it from us.
Yeah, I feel like we've touched on the boys for a long time now.
Each
so maybe
week,
it's time. Let's move.
Have
to
a break
else.
for now.
But yes. All right. Well, thank you all for watching. This was a very lively discussion. Definitely went longer than we were anticipating, but they always do, and that's fine. Drop your thoughts on The Mandalorian and Grogu if you've seen it in the comments below. Drop your thoughts on The Boys Season 5 finale in the comments below. We'll endeavor to answer all of your questions and your responses. And yeah, next week I think we will do, I don't know, what do you want to do next week?
Phases?
Marvel?
Tier list? Phase 1 Marvel tier list.
All right, so stay tuned. Click that notification bell to be reminded. Oh yeah, also, we're doing a poll at the moment. We're doing a poll. Vote for your favorite Marvel show. There are 2 special presentations in there.
Yes, there is.
Guardians of the Galaxy does not deserve to be in there. So vote away every second, every 2 days. So make sure to get your vote in.
100%.
All right, we will catch you next week. Thanks, guys.
Catch you guys.